Colombo flooded after several hours of rain. Fire on board New Diamond supertanker successfully doused. A salvage expert team board the ship and a rescued sailor shares his experience.
I feel something explode. That's all, sir. And I don't remember anything.
Sri Lanka Medical Council delists 3 Russian universities, including Patrice Lumumba University, from the list of foreign universities recognized by Sri Lanka. A police raid turns into a tussle in Atalugama.
Good evening, you're watching Primetime News, and on to your lead story tonight. The last 24 hours that ended at 8:30 this morning, Colombo received a rainfall of 150 millimeters. What you just witnessed was the state of Colombo due to the rainfall experienced yesterday and this morning. This is a report on the situation of Colombo and surrounding areas due to the incessant rainfall.
In the last 24 hours that ended at 8:30 a.m. this morning, Colombo experienced rainfall of 150 millimeters, and the areas of Colombo Fort and Ratmalana received a rainfall of 141 millimeters. This house, located on the 3rd lane in Vennavatta in Vellampitiya, was submerged in water along with 100 other houses in the surrounding area this morning. The same situation was spotted in Vellampitiya and in Adikaramvatta. The situation in Angoda, Gothatuwa and Dematagoda was no better than the situation in Vellampitiya. Due to the flooding situation that followed the incessant rains, students of the Veluvana school in Dematagoda had to be sent back home. Many residents of Borella, Vanathamulla and Halgahakumbura gathered at the community hall in Vanathamulla as their houses were submerged in flood waters. This is the Colombo University premise. This was the situation seen at the BRC grounds in Colombo. Roads leading to the Nelumpokuna Mahinda Rajapaksha Theatre and surrounding roads were blocked by fallen trees and due to the high level of water on the roads. This was the situation at the CCC grounds in Colombo. Heavy traffic congestion was seen this morning as a result of the entry roads to Colombo in areas such as Grand Pass and Armour Street being inundated. This was the situation around Maligavatta. The Colombo Kaduela road was also submerged today. Traffic congestion was seen in Thumulla and several other areas due to the rainy weather experienced today. According to statistics, 5,507 families under 8 divisional secretariats in the Colombo district had been affected due to torrential rain. These 5,507 families have been reported from the divisional secretaries of Timbirigasyaya, Kolonnava, Sri Jayawardhanapura Kotte, Moratuwa, Colombo, Kaduwala, Seethawaka and Maharagama. According to Colombo District Secretary Pradeep Yasarath, 285 families in the Sri Jayawardhanapura Kotte Divisional Secretariat have been moved to two secure locations. Adding further, he said that all necessary facilities have been provided to these groups. The Colombo District Secretary also said that 137 houses in the Colombo district have suffered partial damages due to the torrential rains. Many major development projects are now being carried out in Colombo and surrounding areas as of now. The Port City project, the new Kalani Bridge and the Port Access Elevated Highway project and the multi-purpose shopping mall in Paliagoda are but a few of those development projects that are in motion as of now. In addition to this, several projects are in place to control flooding in Colombo, and the construction work of the groundwater drainage system in the areas of Muthuwella, Thumulla and Bambalapitiya have also begun. In many other occasions, many other projects were implemented to control the rainwater and floodwaters in the city of Colombo. Against such a backdrop, the Colombo city and the surrounding areas get inundated after heavy rainfall in a matter of few hours.
A boat capsized this morning around 2 kilometers from shore with 2 fishermen on board. The boat had set sail from Kalutara north. The tragedy occurred due to heavy rain and gale-force winds which were experienced in the area in the early hours of the day. We sailed around 8 to 9 nautical miles in the sea. Last night, a heavy downpour had been experienced. We have provided them with jackets and other equipment to protect themselves. When they radioed us, I told them to sail to Beruwala, but he said the other fishing pier was better. As soon as that was said, a massive wave collapsed against the boat and it was capsized. Our correspondent said the 2 fishermen had hung on to the capsized boat. Police had attempted to deploy another vessel around 7 this morning to rescue the fishermen in distress. However, the attempt was discouraged by other fishermen of the area, taking into account the inclement weather which had persisted at the time. According to our correspondent, the 2 distressed fishermen had clung onto the capsized boat for nearly 4 hours. Navy sailors who arrived at the scene after being notified by the police managed to rescue the 2 fishermen in a span of 10 minutes. The rescued fishermen are aged 44 and 55 and are residents of Kalutara North and Vaskaduwa.
Foreign salvage experts have boarded the new diamond supertanker after its blaze was successfully contained. Media spokesperson of the Sri Lanka Navy, Captain Indika Silva, said the supertanker is being tugged towards deeper seas.
The rescued engineer, who was a crew member of the new diamond vessel, shared with us his experiences while receiving treatment at the Kalmune hospital.
I feel something explode. That's all, sir. And I don't remember anything. Only explosion. After explosion, I feel that somebody hit me, and then I see that some damages happened. And I call my colleagues, and I see him also running. I ask him for help, and then he assists me to go out and then bring me to the safest place. More than 1 hour I stay in the safest place, and then Sri Lankan Navy arrived. They are the one to rescue me.
The new diamond vessel is currently positioned 40 to 41 nautical miles away from Sri Lanka. Media spokesperson of the Sri Lanka Navy, Captain Indika Silva, revealed to Newsfirst that the blaze aboard the vessel was completely doused and the process of spraying water onto the vessel had been stopped by around 1 this morning. The Sri Lanka Air Force had also observed a patch of fuel in the sea behind the vessel. A Dornier aircraft of the Indian Coast Guard was flown to the site to airdrop diesel dispersant to minimize the detrimental impact on the marine environment in the area. The Dornier aircraft is operating while being stationed at the Hambantota airport.
The trail of fuel is not diesel. It is a much more potent substance similar to tar. The vessel was carrying crude oil and diesel which was used to power the engines. The trail was not a diesel leak but a harder substance. We could not locate where the leak originated from because 2 tugs were stationed there. The MIPA will be issuing a directive to the company which is obtaining oil from the vessel to tug the vessel 200 nautical miles away from Sri Lanka. This morning a fuel patch was observed. We claimed it was a diesel patch. Although diesel is not used in these ships, we named it as a patch of diesel to be easily understood. Due to the diesel dispersant used yesterday, the trail cannot be observed now. However, the Dornier aircraft sprayed diesel dispersant twice today on a new patch of fuel. That patch is still dissolving. According to the reports we have received, this is not a leak from the crude oil storage of the vessel. The stability of the vessel has not weakened.
The Attorney General has directed the Marine Environment Protection Authority to submit the samples obtained from the sea area near the distressed New Diamond vessel to the Government Analysts Department for testing.
The swearing-in of parliamentarian Premalal Jayasekara, who is on death row, had attracted the attention of many international media outlets today.
Reporting on the swearing-in of Premalal Jayasekara, New York Times published an article under the headline, quote, "He faces death for murder conviction. Parliament swore him in anyway," end quote. The Guardian reported that, quote, "A Sri Lankan politician sentenced to death for murder has been escorted from prison to Parliament to become the first convict to be sworn in as an MP, amid heckles from the opposition," end quote. Under the headline, quote, "Murderer on death row sworn in as Sri Lankan MP," end quote. Al Jazeera published an article with the headline, quote, "Premalal Jayasekara, Sri Lanka's death row MP takes oath," end quote. The opposition raised questions even today regarding Premalal Jayasekara taking oaths as a member of parliament.
When Premalal Jayasekara came to take oaths yesterday, I stood up for the opposition and shouted that I had a question. But you could not identify me. The General Secretary did not even look at me. After he was done taking oaths, you claimed questions to be raised. Isn't that wrong, Honourable Speaker? According to parliamentary tradition, when I, the chief opposition whip, raise a question, you should have heard my sentiments and then made a decision.
මන්ත්‍රීවරයෙක් ඇවිල්ලා මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ දිවුරුම් දෙන්නේ එතුමාගේ ඉතාමත්ම වැදගත් ඒ වගේ මේ සභාවෙත් ගෞරවනීය අවස්ථාවක්. ඒකෙදී වෙනත් ප්‍රශ්න මතු කරලා ඒක ඒ වෙලාවේ එහෙම කරන එක යුතුයකමක් නෙමෙයි කියලායි මම කියන්නේ. වෙනත් ප්‍රශ්න නෙමෙයි මම මතු කරුවේ රීති ප්‍රශ්න. මන්ත්‍රීවරයෙක් දිවුරුම් දීම සම්බන්ධයෙන් නැගිය හැකි රීති ප්‍රශ්නය කුමක්ද?
We did not speak about a verdict of a case. We merely read out the verdict once you did so yourself. Mahindanand Alutgamage mentioned my name and Sarath Fonseca's and requested our statements to be removed. There is no need to do so. I believe you will protect us. Those things should be included in the Hansard.
We understand that you are under pressure, but we are confident that you, as a person hailing from the south, will not cave into these pressures and act independently.
There is no tradition in the Sri Lankan Parliament or in any parliament in the world where the swearing in of an MP is disrupted under the standing orders or any other regulation. The former speaker did not recognize us back then because he was following the tradition.
The report of the 5-member committee appointed to study the damage caused to the Anavilundava sanctuary was tabled in Parliament today. Minister of Wildlife and Forest Conservation, C.V. Ratnayaka, tabled the report while answering a question raised by Leader of the Opposition, Sajith Premadasa, in Parliament today.
Does the government accept the failure to take any action until bulldozers destroyed about 2 acres of land in the Anavilundava sanctuary within 2 days is a serious weakness on the part of the government? Has the government taken action to arrest and bring to justice those who provided advice as well as those who aided and abetted this crime? Will the government inform this House of the progress of the legal action taken by the relevant institutions concerning this crime? Has the report of the committee appointed by the Minister of Wildlife and Forest Conservation been submitted? Has the government taken steps to prevent such serious environmental crimes in the future?
ඉදිරිපත් කොට තිබේද මෙවැනි බරපතල පාරිසරික අපරාධ ඉදිරියේදී සිදුවීම වැළැක්වීම සඳහා නිසි වැඩපිළිවෙලක් යෙදීමට රජය විසින් කටයුතු කොට තිබේද
අක්කර 1.65කට ආසන්න භූමි ප්‍රමාණයක් 20.18
Nearly 1.65 acres of land was bulldozed and cleared during the night of the 25th of August 2020, and the wildlife officers in charge of the area have carried out investigations. The claim that this land has been bulldozed over 2 days is not true. The Department of Wildlife Conservation commenced investigations on the 26th of August 2020 and reported the matter to the Chilao Magistrates Court. The operator of the bulldozer used to bulldoze the area, and his assistant has been arrested and produced before the court. The Director General of Wildlife has instructed all wildlife officers to implement the Fauna and Flora Protection Ordinance properly and increase patrolling to prevent such crimes. The assistance of the police has been sought for this purpose. I appointed a 5-member committee over the Anavilundava incident. I received the report last evening. I am ready to table it.
අවශ්‍ය උපදෙස් ලබා දී ඇති අතර පොලිසිය සහායද මේ සඳහා ලබාගෙන තියෙනවා කියන එකත් විශේෂයෙන් ප්‍රකාශ කරන්න ඕනේ. ආනවිලුන්දාව මම පංචපුද්ගලික කමිටුවක් පත් කෙරුවා. එයින් අද ඊයේ හවස මට හම්බුනේ මේ සඳහා ඒක සභාගත කරන්න සූදානම්යි.
President's Counsel Salia Piris has addressed a letter to the President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka. President's Counsel Kalingidhathissa raising several concerns relating to the legal profession which arise from the proposed 20th Amendment to the Constitution.
In his letter, President's Counsel Salia Piris has admitted that certain provisions in the Constitution may need to be reviewed in order to address practical issues which have arisen, but has also cautioned that certain provisions included in the bill could impact the independence of the judiciary and on the legal profession. The letter states, quote, "Among these provisions are the proposed amendments relating to the appointment of judges to the superior courts, which provide for only non-binding observations to be obtained from the Parliamentary Council," unquote. President's Counsel Salia Piris has highlighted on the proposed amendment to Article 35 in his letter, which takes away the ability of a person to challenge by the way of a fundamental rights application an act or omission of a president. President's Counsel Salia Piris has also claimed that there are several ongoing cases against the acts or omissions of former presidents. The letter reads, quote, "If this amendment is passed, any future president too will have the benefit of immunity clause, which will deprive the people of an opportunity to challenge an act or omission of a president," unquote. President's Counsel Salia Piris has also raised concerns regarding certain provisions relating to the Judicial Services Commission and Attorney General. In conclusion, President's Counsel Salia Piris requests the President of the Bar Association to take into account the aforementioned matters when a committee is constituted by the Bar Association to examine the provisions of the bill.
Lumumba. The Sri Lanka Medical Council has delisted 3 Russian universities, including world-renowned Patrice Lumumba University, from the list of foreign universities recognized by Sri Lanka. The SLMC says the decision was made following a thorough review.
A decision was made at the annual general meeting of the Sri Lanka Medical Council on the 26th of June 2020 to delist People's Friendship University of Russia, formerly known as Patrice Lumumba University, Pirogov Russian National Research Medical University, and Tue State Medical University that award full scholarships to Sri Lankan students. I sat for the GCE Advanced Level Examination in 2019. Since only a limited number of students are enrolled at the medical faculty, I was not chosen. Thereafter, when I applied for a scholarship, 4 Russian universities were approved by the SLMC. But when we were awarded the scholarship, the council has removed 3 of these Russian universities from the recognized list. The Association of Sri Lankan Graduates from Socialist Countries states, every year the Russian government awards 5 Sri Lankan students with over 40 scholarships, including 5 scholarships for medicine, to state universities in Russia. The association added that the SLMC has removed 3 of the approved universities after the students had applied and obtained confirmations on their scholarships from Russia. When Newsfirst made inquiries, Registrar of the Sri Lanka Medical Council, Dr. Ananda Hapugoda, said that an expert panel conducted a 5-year follow-up on approved foreign universities and then arrived at a decision following a thorough review. He added, based on the criteria including quality of education and relevance of the curriculum to the Sri Lankan healthcare system, a decision will be made whether to remove or retain the recognized foreign universities. The registrar further said that the students who have completed the scholarship or are already receiving education at these universities before the decision was made will be able to register with Sri Lanka Medical Council and will be eligible to face the examination for registration to practice medicine or the Act 16 examination in Sri Lanka. However, students who had applied and obtained confirmations on their scholarship this year will not be eligible to sit for the Act 16 examination upon completion of the scholarship.
I applied for Russian scholarship. The Lumumba University was recognized by the SLMC, but now it has been removed from the recognition list. So when we complete our degree after the 7 years, we are not able to come to Sri Lanka and practice as doctors.
There are many people in our country who do not have access to clean drinking water, who cannot lay claim to the plot of land they live in, and farmers who have to sacrifice their cultivation to wild animals and sometimes to intermediary entities. There is no one to provide solutions to those issues, let alone listen to the issues the people face. Gammadda decided to lend an ear to these people for the 5th time around through the Gammadda door-to-door initiative.
People in Ranurava Nochiagama do not hesitate to gather water even during heavy rains. As a result, the entire village becomes sick on rainy days. Although there are many wells located in the area, water in them are highly contaminated. A water project was proposed to the area 10 years ago. However, the project never came into fruition, and the villagers urged from the authorities to restart it and provide them with clean drinking water. Most people in the Madutekam village in Mana are kidney patients. Only one tube well is there to be used for the entire village. To make matters worse, the water supply from the tube well contains high calcium. The villagers have no alternative but to purchase water on a daily basis. Amidst all these hardships these people face, the wild elephant menace in the area takes center stage. When our teams visited the Annasikanda village in Habarado today, they certainly did not expect to see this old lady in tears. Until today, no one bothered to listen to her sorrows. This is the Janabala village in Akmimana. The plight of the people living in this village is no better than any other village our teams visited today. The children in the village do not have a proper bridge to cross the river and go to school. The days when the water level is high in Madula, the students have two choices, either to swim across the water or not going to school at all.
Testifying before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry probing the April 21st attack, leader of the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress, Rauf Hakim, said that through the SIM cards used by the terrorists who carried out the bombings, it provides more evidence that an invisible force was behind the April 21st attack. Rauf Hakim testified before the Commission last evening for the second consecutive day.
Rauf Hakim, who testified before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry probing the April 21st attack on Monday, said that there is an invisible force behind the attack. Yesterday, Hakim said that this invisible force in question has aided Zahran and the National Tawhid Jamaat in carrying out the attack. Leader of the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress added that these SIM cards used by the bombers were from countries such as Nepal, Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan. He also said that a powerful force has to be behind this, as these SIM cards have been obtained and used unbeknownst to the authorities. When questioned by President's Counsel representing His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit whether there is an external force behind the attack, leader of the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress said, definitely there is an outside force, because to carry out mass murder in such a well-coordinated and sophisticated operation, having only internal support is insufficient. Adding further, Hakim said that he cannot accurately point out the particular external force and that it is the duty and the responsibility of the intelligence services to discover what it is. Connecting his earlier statement saying that Zahran was not directly linked to the ISIS, Hakim added, after the attack, in public, the then head of Criminal Investigation Department, Senior DIG Ravi Seneviratne, indirectly said that he believes that this attack was not carried out by the ISIS. Rauf Hakim said that it was in February last year that he first received information that the leader of the National Tawhid Jamaat, Zaharan Hashim, was practicing extremist ideologies when Professor Maitri Wickramasinghe, the wife of then Prime Minister Ranil Wickramasinghe, shared a video with him which was surfacing on the internet where Zaharan was preaching extremism. Hakim added, saying during that time Professor Maitri Wickramasinghe had asked him to check into the matter as it seemed extremely dangerous to the national interests of the country. Parliamentarian Rauf Hakim said when he inquired into this matter from the Criminal Investigations Department, the then director of the CID, Shani Abesekara, said that they have deployed 50 teams to arrest Zaharan Hashim and his group.
Meanwhile, testifying at the Presidential Commission probing the April 21st attacks today, former Chief of National Intelligence Sisira Mendis said the Criminal Investigation Department had not sent any progress report pertaining to the investigations conducted on vandalizing the Buddha statues in Mavanella and the explosives raid in Vanathavilluwa in 2019 to the Office of the Chief of National Intelligence. Testifying at the Commission, Mendis said that the CID officials had not participated at intelligence coordination meetings held after raiding explosives at the Vanathavilluwa safe house. The former Chief of National Intelligence added most madrasas are registered with the Registrar of Companies and education authorities had no power to monitor them.
The youth wing of the United National Party convened a media briefing today and made a revelation about an individual who has caused the downfall of the party.
හැමෝම දන්නවා කවුද ජනතා විමුක්ති පෙරමුණෙන් ඇවිල්ලා එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයේ.
Everyone knows who has come from the JVP and is now creating internal conflicts in the UNP at this time and is creating various non-existent issues. It is no secret that Ashubodha Marasinghe was on our national list this time as well. All UNP activists are very clearly pointing the finger at him for being behind these problems.
ඒ වෙලාව එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂ ක්‍රියාකාරීන් හැමෝම චෝදනා කරන්නේ ඌට මේ වුණු ප්‍රශ්න වලට වග කියන්න ඕනේ කියලා. අපි පාක්ෂිකයාට සලකන්න පාක්ෂිකයා රැක ගන්න අවුරුදු 5ක්.
The party supporters got the opportunity to respond to the work done by the party and they did. Accepting that answer, Ranil Wickramasinghe has announced his intention to resign. It will now be with a new leadership that we will discuss plans to move forward.
නායකත්වයත් එක්ක තමයි අපි ඉදිරියට යන්න කටයුතු.
3 women and another man have been arrested for assaulting police in the Marava area in Atalugama in Alutgama.
A group of officers attached to the Bandaragama police arrived at the Marava area in Atalugama this morning to conduct a drug raid. It was reported that an individual who had been sent as an undercover agent to a house to buy cannabis, as well as the said seller, had been arrested on suspicion. A group of women who were at the house at the time had beaten 2 police constables and other police officers at the scene. Two police constables were injured in the incident and 2 sub-inspectors of police who also sustained injuries have left the Bandaragama base hospital after receiving treatment. The police stated that 500 grams of Kerala cannabis were found hidden on the 2nd floor of the house during a search carried out including police dogs. The 3 women arrested in connection with the assault and the individuals suspected to be involved in drug trafficking are due to be produced before the Panadura Magistrates Court tomorrow.
Sri Lankan sprinter Yupun Abekon became the fastest man in South Asia at an international athletic meet held in Germany yesterday. Yupun Abekon is a past pupil of Pannala National School and St. Joseph's College in Vennapur. And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight. From all of us here at the Newsfirst desk, good night and take care.